High in the Black Hills of South Dakota lies a sheet of blue water unlike any other in the region. It rests among a jumble of enormous rounded granite boulders, pale stone rising straight out of the calm surface, with dark pine crowding the shore and a high peak standing beyond. It is so striking that it is often called the crown jewel of its park, and yet its greatest surprise is one you would never guess by looking. Welcome to Sylvan Lake. We are in Custer State Park, in the granite heart of the Black Hills of southwestern South Dakota. This is high country, where the pine-covered hills rise dark and rounded above the surrounding plains, and where weathered spires and boulders of pale granite break through the forest. Tucked into this stone landscape, near its highest ground, sits the small and famous lake before us. Sylvan Lake is often called the crown jewel of Custer State Park, and it is easy to see why. The water is a deep, clear blue, and all around it huge smooth boulders of granite lean and pile against one another, so that the lake seems set into the stone like a gem in its mounting. Pine forest frames the whole scene, and the effect is a place that feels both wild and perfectly composed, a small basin of blue held in pale rock. The lake belongs to the Black Hills, an island of rugged, forested high country lifted above the open grasslands of the northern plains. Seen from a distance, the dense pine that covers these slopes makes them look nearly black, and that is how they earned their name. It is a landscape of granite peaks, deep gulches, and clear, cold water, and Sylvan Lake sits near its very center, cradled among the hills. Here is the surprise. Unlike most of the water in this region, Sylvan Lake is not fully natural. Its calm blue surface, so at home among the ancient boulders, was not shaped by nature alone. Long ago, human hands changed the course of a small stream in this gulch, and the water that gathered here filled a hollow in the rock that had never held a lake before. What looks like a timeless mountain tarn is in truth a made place, barely older than the towns nearby. The story begins in 1881. In that year, a settler dammed a small stream where it ran through this rocky gulch, holding back its flow behind a low barrier of stone and timber. It was a modest act, the kind of thing done all across a frontier being settled, and yet here, among these particular rocks, it would create something rare. Slowly, behind the new dam, the water began to rise. As the water climbed, it backed up among a jumble of enormous rounded granite boulders that filled the gulch. It slipped into the gaps between the great stones, pooled around their bases, and rose until the pale rock stood half drowned in blue. That is the secret of the lake's unusual beauty. The water did not spread across an open valley, but wove itself in and out among giant boulders, and so it took on the strange and lovely look it still wears today. Those boulders are the soul of the place. They are masses of pale, weathered granite, rounded smooth over unimaginable spans of time, some as large as small buildings, heaped and balanced along the shore. They rise straight from the water, they lean over the path, and they pile into low cliffs and spires above the pines. Between the blue of the lake and the dark green of the forest, it is this pale stone that gives Sylvan Lake its unmistakable face. A trail loops around the whole lake, and following it is the finest way to know this place. The shore path leads between and even through the great rocks, ducking into gaps and passing beneath leaning boulders, so that stone rises close on either side. First, the water is before us wide and open, then it narrows to a sliver glimpsed between two giants of granite. Around every turn, the lake shows a new face, framed by rock and reflected pine. On a calm day, the water lies utterly still, and the lake becomes a mirror. The pale boulders, the dark pines, and the bright sky all fall into the surface and hang there upside down, so perfectly that the shoreline seems to open into a second world below. Only a breath of wind or a ripple breaks the spell. In these quiet moments, the small lake feels vast and deep, doubling the beauty of everything that stands around it. Beyond the trees, the land keeps rising. Sylvan Lake sits high in the Black Hills, close beneath Black Elk Peak, long known as Harney Peak, the highest summit in South Dakota. It is the highest point in the United States east of the Rocky Mountains, a crown of bare granite standing above the sea of pine. From the shore, its heights can be felt more than seen, the whole basin tilted up toward that far, stony summit. Because it sits so high and so near that great peak, the lake has long served as a gateway to the summit above. The paths that begin at its shore climb away into the granite high country, threading up through pine and rock toward Black Elk Peak and the ridgelands around it. And so Sylvan Lake is both a destination and a doorway, a place of rest at the water's edge and a starting point for the long rise into the highest country in these hills. Such striking scenery has made Sylvan Lake famous far beyond the Black Hills. Its blue water and pale, dramatic boulders have drawn photographers and painters for well over a century, and in time they drew the movie camera as well. The lake has appeared on the screen in film, its unmistakable landscape of stone and water standing in for wild and secret places. Few small lakes are so widely recognized, and few are still wear their fame so quietly. There is an older and deeper story here as well. The surrounding Black Hills, known as Pahasapa, are sacred to the Dakota people, held for generations as a place of profound spiritual meaning. Long before any dam or park, these forested heights and granite summits were revered as holy ground. To stand quietly beside this water is to stand within a landscape that has been treasured and honored far longer than the lake itself has existed. And in the end, that is what Sylvan Lake offers most freely. A quiet moment at the edge of blue water, ringed by ancient stone and dark pine, with the high peaks watching from beyond. The great boulders hold their warmth into the evening, the surface goes glassy and calm, and the whole small basin settles into stillness. Made by human hands yet perfectly at home among the rocks, it is a place that asks only that you pause and take it in. Blue water among the granite, a made lake grown timeless, and the sacred hills rising all around. Thank you for watching. Follow for more interesting people, places, and things we cover on the channel.